Hi, it's Frank from Man Lake, and today I'm going to show you how to do an easy split on a colony. I get questions about it all the time. People think it's very difficult, that they have to find their queen so they know which box, or they do a walk away and then they have to wait a few days to figure out where their queen is. This is an easy way to do one, and you know exactly where your queen is. Now, why do we want to split this colony? This colony overwintered in double deeps. It's a very strong colony, and it's absolutely going to swarm on me. So rather than let my bees swarm, I'm going to split this and make it into 2 colonies. That way I've gotten a swarm instead of it getting away. So the process we're going to do is we're going to make sure all the bees are out of the top box. And how are we going to do that? First, we're going to take the lid off, we're going to smoke them a bit, then we're going to shake the frames and we're going to put it into this box right here. So at the end of the first part of it, we're going to have all the frames in this box with no bees. All it's going to have is all stages of brood, hopefully some pollen, some nectar, but no adult bees. Maybe a couple, but we're going to be sure the queen is not in there. So we'll get started doing that. These bees have been a little testy, so I'll probably need my veil today. So we're going to remove the lid and we're going to smoke them down to get them, you know, as many down as we can, possibly drive that queen down into the bottom box. So we're going to start with an outside frame, and one by one, we start with the outside to make sure the queen's not on that one. And I generally take a quick look. So I've kind of shook the bees off of there, a few worker bees, no queen, and I'm just going to start setting them in here like that. And as I'm doing this, depending on what kind of split I'm doing, I'm going to look, when I hit a frame with brood, I'm going to look to see if I've got some eggs and some young larvae on there, in case we want to let the bees make their own queen. This frame here has a lot of pollen, and I do see very young larvae, and I also see eggs on this side. So this frame right here, the bees can make a queen from if we decide to go that way. So all we basically need to do this kind of a split at the moment is we need an extra box and we need a Queen Excluder. And I'll show you what we're going to do with the Queen Excluder in a minute. Okay, so we've gotten all the bees down into that box. There's just brood in here. So being all the bees are here, we know our queen is down here. We know we have a queen because we saw eggs in there. So all I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to put a Queen Excluder on there, and I'm going to put this box back on top. I'm going to leave this hive alone for probably an hour, 2 hours, something like that. All the nurse bees are going to come back. Why? Nurse bees don't leave brood. They don't like to leave brood. They always stay on it. So the nurse bees are all down here now. They're going to come back up through into this top box. That bottom box is going to have our foragers and our queen. So when we come back in an hour or so, we're going to remove this box and put it on a new bottom board. And I'll show you that when we come back. Okay, we're back. This hive's been here for about an hour. We did the shakedown split where we got all the bees in the bottom box, put the Queen Excluder on, put the top box back on, and we waited about an hour. Now, you could wait much longer if you like. The longer you wait, most likely the more nurse bees are going to get up there. You can wait, do this in the morning, come back late in the afternoon. You could do it today, come back tomorrow. Doesn't really matter. As long as there's open brood up top, you're going to get a lot of nurse bees in there. And the longer you wait, the more bees you're going to have in that split. So there's no rush to do it right away. But we're ready to do it. I've got enough bees up there. Yep, they're all in the seams there. I've got a good amount. In preparation for the split, I put down a new bottom board, and I've got a lid to put back on here. What I do is, if I'm going to move this to a new apiary, I won't put an entrance reducer in there. If I'm leaving it in the same apiary as the original colony, a lot of times I'll put that entrance reducer in the smallest opening for just a few days, just to get those bees to stay in there and get used to that new queen if you're putting a queen in. You have a choice when you do this. It depends on the time of year you do it. For me, and this is my opinion, when I do it in early spring, if I got really strong colonies early spring, I can't count on the weather, the number of mature drones, any of that for the bees to actually raise a queen, her to go out and mate and come back and be successful with that split. So early season, I will generally buy queens. Once I see a fair amount of drones in the colonies, which we're seeing now, it's beginning of May, and we're seeing drones in the colonies, a lot of them. So I know they can raise their own queen if I want to do it. I made sure this top box has at least one frame with eggs and very young larvae, 1-day-old larvae. So if I want them to raise it, they can. So in preparation here, I've got my bottom board. All I'm doing now is taking this box, setting it on the new bottom board. I kept this original lid with it because this one is a feeder lid. I'm going to feed these bees. They don't have a lot of foragers, so I'm going to give them syrup. The original colony now, the queen is down there, and I'm done. What have I done? I've weakened this colony to the point where it's not going to swarm on me. There's a lot of room for that queen to lay. We've taken away about half the bees, a lot of the nurse bees, so they're most likely not going to swarm on me. So that was taken care of. This one, I haven't decided. I've got a queen here in my pocket. I may put her in. I probably will put her in because I want her to start laying fairly quickly. I'm going to leave her in here for about 5 days, then I'm going to let her out. She's going to start laying pretty quickly. If I let the bees raise their own queen, it's about from, say they needed to do it on a 1-day-old larva, that 1-day-old larva till it becomes a queen, she goes out and mates, comes back and starts laying. It's going to be pretty close to a month. We're going to be into the beginning of June almost. So I want to get honey out of both of these colonies, so I'm choosing to put a queen in. I'm going to move this colony. So in preparation for moving this colony, I put a ratchet strap under it. I like to use ratchet straps because then it's easy. I can just pick the whole thing up and take it to wherever I want. This one is actually going to go to a different apiary. So I'll just put it on the back of my truck, take it there, and it'll be done. As I said, if you don't have a second apiary that you can move it to, it's fine. Just take this entrance reducer, take the smallest entrance, put it there just for a few days, just to keep those bees in, getting used to that new queen. And once, 2-3 days, they're used to her, you can take that entrance reducer out, leave that queen in her cage, 5 days. It's always better to be safe than sorry. You let her out immediately or after 2 days, 3 days, the bees might kill her. The longer she's in there, the more she's going to be accepted. Let her out and you've got a successful split. So that's all there was to it. Very easy to make that split. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Let us know if there's something else you'd like to see, and we'd love to bring it to you. Thanks again.